Yo, and we are live. Yo, this is S.E.T Media, guys, and I'm back with another one for you. All right, guys, we're about to get into some Iranian war updates because, yeah, it seems like we're prepping for a strike on Iran since negotiations seems to be stalled due to the blockade and well, the Strait of Hormuz and the blockade on both sides, the blockade on top of a blockade. And then we're going to also review Pete Hegseth's, congressional hearing, because he was getting grilled, but he also stood up for himself a little bit. So shout out Pete Hegseth. But all right, guys, we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. Let's make sure we double tap that screen like the video, and let's go. All right.
First, we start with President Trump, reportedly set to be briefed by CENTCOM on new military action against Iran. Madeline Rivera has all of those details in Washington. Hi, Maddie.
Good morning, Colleen Todd. President Trump hasn't been satisfied with the state of negotiations in Iran to the point that he pulled out of those second round of expected talks between U.S. and Iranian officials in Pakistan over the weekend. He says Iran has come a long way, but indicates they have not gone far enough. Now, Axios reports CENTCOM has prepared a plan for.
Now, the problem is both sides is kind of playing each other. Now, we originally started the BS because we put down the naval blockade right as these guys, think about it, we put down a naval blockade and we made an agreement to open up the strait. Now, Iran, they opened up the strait and 14 ships were allowed to get through, but America, we kept our naval blockade on. And what we were expecting the Iranians to do was everybody else ships can go through, but their ports will still remain blocked. So yeah, obviously that wasn't going to work. But what Trump was trying to do there was to get them to come to the table for a nuclear deal, which they obviously said kick rocks, we're not doing. We're just going to shut down the strait again. And now we're here at a stalemate when it comes to negotiations.
For a short and powerful wave of strikes on Iran, likely including infrastructure targets, in hopes of breaking the negotiating deadlock, three sources with knowledge said. The hope would be that Iran would then return to the negotiating table, showing more flexibility on the nuclear issue. But when asked Wednesday if he's considering more strikes, the president did not commit, at least publicly. He touts his blockade of Iranian ships. He reportedly sees that as his most effective source of leverage against the regime.
Now they have to cry uncle. That's all they have to do. Just say, we give up, when you have to fly 18 hours every day.
Guys, here's the problem with that blockade. So not Russia, but Iran could still access Russia through the Caspian Sea. They have railways that can go through Kazakhstan that can get over there to China. So two of their biggest buyers, they still have access to, without the Strait of Hormuz. Like I said, through the Caspian Sea, which is north of Iran, and of course a railway system that they have with the Chinese to deliver, goods. And they're thinking about starting putting the oil on there. Actually, they've already started doing so.
Time you want to have a meeting, and you know what the meeting is all about. And they're going to give you a piece of paper that you don't like before you even leave. It's ridiculous.
Oh, and this is why we're striking them, guys. Remember, this is why we're striking them, what I just said, because it's proven that the blockade is not actually going to hurt Iran the way we've been framing it. So, I mean, think about it. If that was the case, then why not just wait it out? Actually, they said by today, their pipes were supposed to burst, but they didn't. So, since that didn't work, we got to go in there and strike Iran. Well, we really don't, but this is what Trump is pretty much telling us.
They've come a long way. The question is whether or not they're going to go far enough. So at this moment, there will never be a deal unless they agree that there will be no nuclear weapons.
But Iran's parliament speaker is mocking the U.S. strategy, saying 3 days in, no well.
So guys, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Let's get more people on the conversation by double tapping that screen. Appreciate the support.
Exploded. We could extend to 30 and live stream the well here. That was the kind of junk advice the U.S. administration gets from people like Besant, who also pushed the blockade theory and cranked oil up to more than $120. Next stop, $140.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real with you. That was not a good decision because, yes, bro, Brent crude is at 118. WTI is at $7. That's a lot, guys, and it's right here in front of us. So, yeah. I have no idea why they thought that blockade wasn't going to skyrocket gas prices. I see that they wanted to try to starve Iran, but now we see that was kind of a pipe dream because they still have access to their main buyers, one through the Caspian Sea in Russia, and then a railway to China. But, I mean, hey, at least we tried, right?
The issue isn't the theory, it's the mindset. Axios reports other options the president is considering include taking over part of the Strait of Hormuz to reopen it to commercial shipping and using special forces to secure Iran's stockpile of enriched uranium.
Hey, and shout out to my man Gaming. He says, open up the live call-in. He sent it on Venmo. You know what, bro? I got you. I got you on this one. Because me and you, we need to go ahead and react to that Hegseth, because you definitely got way more knowledge on me on military stuff.
If Iran does not strike a deal. Todd and Carly.
Maddie, thanks.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.
All right, let's get over to
Trump
the video.
and the national security team. Among the issues in the briefing, the U.S. Turning now to Operation Epic Fury, the head of U.S. Central Command is set to go to the White House later today. He'll be meeting with President Trump and the national security team. Among the issues in the briefing, the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports. Brian Yanis, live in Tel Aviv with more. Hi, Brian.
Hi, Dana. Good morning. Well, Iran's Supreme Leader Mujtaba Khamenei has released a new written statement today that was read aloud by a presenter on Iranian state TV. It calls the United States the Great Satan and vows to protect Iran's nuclear and missile capabilities. The statement, also posted on X, says this about Americans, quote, those foreigners from thousands of kilometers away who are greedily carrying out transgressions in the Persian Gulf and Sea of Oman have no place here except at the bottom of its waters. Iran will put an end to the hostile enemy's exploitation of the Strait of Hormuz. Now, Khamenei went on to declare that the Strait of Hormuz is under Iran's new management.
It's hilarious because the exploitation, like, you know, well, I get it. We attacked Iran. That's the whole reason why they're exploiting the Strait of Hormuz. But to call us the exploiters as well is absolutely hilarious. The pot calling the kettle black, to be real.
And rules, reiterating Iran's intent to control the strait and continue charging some ships tolls. Secretary of State Marco Rubio told Fox that this would be completely unacceptable to the U.S. and the world. Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps commander Ahmed Vahidi is thought to actually be the one calling the shots in Iran. The supreme leader, who is said to be seriously wounded from Operation Epic Fury, has not made one public appearance since he became the Ayatollah 2 months ago. But for now,
and from what I've been hearing, I heard that he's missing a leg. They're trying to get him an artificial leg. He pretty much got caught up in that blast that killed his father, except he barely made it. He got like singed lips. He's still able to talk, still able to carry out commands, but the man is disfigured.
President Trump has opted to extend the U.S. blockade on Iranian ports and continue the economic sanctions with the goal of collapsing Iran's economy, forcing them into a deal to end its nuclear weapons program.
We were able to grab about 350 million crypto assets, and then on top of another 100 that we had recently gotten. So we're almost at $500 million there. And we are freezing bank accounts everywhere. More importantly, we are making people less willing to deal with the regime.
President Trump has not taken new military strikes off the table.
Here's a problem with what he's saying. Actually, people are now more willing to deal with Iran controlling the Strait of Hormuz than allowing this war to keep going on. We got China going behind our backs to go make a deal with Iran so they can get their oil. Not China, but Japan. Japan made a deal behind our backs to go get their oil. Pakistan, India, they're all making deals behind our back to make sure they get their oil. Why? Because the Strait of Hormuz contains about 50 to 80% of their oil. So they can't really go without it like we can. That's why when Trump says, oh, we don't need it, I mean, cool. But our allies sure as hell do. And they don't got as much, they don't got a time clock like we do.
It's warned Iran to get smart soon, or else. Dana.
Or else we all see what that means. Thank you, Brian.
So retired Lieutenant General Karen Gibson's here, former Director of Intelligence for U.S. Central Command. You got quite the resume, General. Thanks for your time. And now we have decisions before the president as to what to do next. Here was the question.
Oh, guys, make sure to double tap that screen, like the video, guys. Let's get more people in on the conversation by double tapping that screen.
And then the answer from the Oval Office.
Do you think another wave of strikes will be necessary?
I don't know. It depends. We have talks. We're having talks with them now, and we're not flying anymore with 18-hour flights. They've come a long way. The question is whether or not they're going to go far enough. So at this moment, there will never be a deal unless they agree that there will be no nuclear weapons.
Okay.
See, here's the problem. They've always agreed that they won't have any nuclear weapons. But what Trump is really talking about is that they cannot have any type of enrichment capability. And Iran, well, they feel like they have a right to enrich. Well, they are part of the non-proliferation treaty, so they do have a right to enrich. Let's just be clear. But Trump wants to take that right away. He doesn't trust them with that right. And they're saying, well, I'm sorry, but we're not going to talk about enrichment. We'll promise you we'll never make a nuke. We'll let you have the inspectors on the ground to view our enrichment, but we're not giving it up. And Trump's like, look, it's either you're going to give it up or we're going to keep this going. And it looks like we're going to keep it going.
Options before him are obvious. What's the best one right now?
Well, I think it's interesting that I characterize the first part of this campaign as the kinetic portion from February 28th to April 8th, in which we imposed punishing airstrikes from the U.S. and Israeli militaries, and Iran countered with missiles and drones against infrastructure across the Gulf. Since the 8th, we've entered this economic phase. I like the term Operation Economic Fury, in which we are both using military assets to try to squeeze each other economically. Iran's strategy has always been make this campaign so politically and economically intolerable for us that we would decide to call it quits. Hence, their chokehold on the Straits of Hormuz. But now we've countered with this blockade, turning back, as I understand, over.
Yeah, but here's a problem, though. It's not only the American people that's tapping their watch going like, hey, yo, hurry this up. But it's our allies around the world that's also tapping their watches like, so, like, bro, how long is this going to take? We're running out of oil. People are getting desperate. And we're kind of having a fertilizer problem. So not just an energy problem is coming to hit us, but a food crisis as well. So please, Trump, can you hurry this up? And Trump is telling the reporters, hey, don't rush me.
From the sea, goods, primarily oil and petrochemicals that are transited from the sea. They already had a failing economy. That's what generated the popular protests at the end of 2025 and the start of 26. But they've proved very resilient in the past to economic pressure, whether that was the pre-JCPOA sanctions or the maximum pressure campaign of the first Trump administration. I think the final thing I'd say on this is that the regime has never prioritized the economic well-being of its own people, even under the previous sanction regimes when they had limited access.
I mean, what can they do when we're sanctioning them out the woo-ha? We're pretty much, like, honestly annexing them out the global economy. So, like, what are they supposed to do? Like, we're literally destroying their economy. Like, you can't sit there and act like at this point it's just reckless spending. No, we put sanctions on them all around. We have billions of dollars of their money, like, due to these sanctions. Like, and plus, we destroyed their currency. Scott Bessent admitted to doing so, pulling economic levers to destroy the real. And now what? $1 is worth 1.4, 1.6 million. Like, I'm gonna be real with you. We did this to them. And it's kind of one of the reasons why they yell death to America, because they know we did this. Now, you may not know, but they do.
Assets. They still prioritized funds to proxies and to their own military. So I think it remains to be seen how much it will take in terms of economic pressure to get them to make those additional concessions.
That's actually a really good point she made. It's like, yeah, how long is it going to take to make them concessions? Because they've been going through economic turmoil for a minute now. And they're still able to fund their proxies. They're still able to build their missiles, still able to grow their food. Why they're able to do this? Because they're a self-sustaining country like America, believe it or not. Like, they grow 80% of their foods. All of their missiles are made in-house. Actually, it's like they're more made in-house than ours. They don't even really got to go outside of their country to go get stuff to make their missiles and drones. So there's that as well. That's why economically strangling these guys is hard, because they got the same economic fortitude, not as good, but as Russia.
I mentioned this Wall Street Journal article last hour. I think it was so well done because there's a view inside of Iran. And at the end, the expert says Iranians will suffer hardship, but their pain tolerance threshold is higher. Yeah. And that's something we really have to gauge. In the meantime, you're in the military, and with regard to hardware in the region, we're about to send a missile in that we've never used before. All right, it's called a hypersonic missile. Bloomberg headline: U.S. seeks to deploy a hypersonic missile for the first time. It's called the Dark Eagle. It has a range of 7.
Hey, we're bringing out the Dark Eagle. I remember, actually, yeah, it was me and Gaming that was talking about this. He's the one who informed me on this. So yes. We've been experimenting with a hypersonic missile called Dark Eagle, and I guess we're bringing it out to play. So let's see how this all works out, because Iran got hypersonic missiles. Shoot, they got 2 versions of a hypersonic missile. So let's see what we can do, because Lord knows we ain't trying to use a nuke. So let's see if we can make them bend with hypersonic missiles. I doubt it, but let's see.
1,500 miles, can exceed Mach 5, which is greater than 4,000 miles an hour, $15 million each. I can tell you this, General, we were at the Reagan Defense Forum 2 years ago, and the entire forum was talking about hypersonic weapons 2 years ago.
Jesus, cost 15 mil? That makes sense. 15 million. All right.
And the entire forum was talking about hypersonic weapons, because the Russians and the Chinese had beaten us so badly at this, and we had yet to really develop an effective one. Do you have confidence in the hypersonic?
No, we really did get too cocky. Like, we got too cocky with our Air Force and our Navy and submarines, and we never really got into the hypersonic missiles. We didn't really see it as a necessity until now, until we started seeing how other countries start deploying them and how effective they are on the battlefield.
And that we've developed.
Russia.
And if it were to be deployed, could we do it effectively now?
Yes. So to be fair, that's not something that I've tracked closely in terms of this performance of a weapon that has not been tested on the battlefield. I would make one comment that the Central Command submits a number of RFFs, or requests for forces, and it implies that the commander is considering various options that might require the use of those forces, such as elements of the 82nd Airborne Division, which are over now in the Middle East, but have not yet been used. And so just because an RFF has gone in, request for forces, doesn't mean there's a plan for its imminent use. But certainly, I think the commander wants to expand the range of options that are available to him beyond those already punishing airstrikes that we've done. It signals greater commitment and resolve on the part of the United States, and I think is something that is clearly being contemplated to use if it turns that this economic pressure.
But then how much of those do we have just to be firing off into Iran? That's what also I want to know, because we are running a little bit low on munitions. So, I mean, what, are we just coming in with a fresh new load? How much of these do you got made? And I mean, how long you think you can keep firing these? Because if you only got a month's supply and thinking that you're going to take out Iran with them, I mean, I hope, but it's unlikely. But all right, though, let's get to the next video, and then we're going to go ahead and bring in some of the guests on. Because shout out to my man Gaming, he's already in the background.
President Trump is now threatening to pull U.S. troops out of Germany as NATO nations continue to fall short on helping Iran.
Oh, guys, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Let's get more people on the conversation by double tapping that screen. Appreciate the support. Let's get right into it.
Well, Iran's supreme leader is making new threats against the U.S. and our allies.
Our senior White House correspondent, Jackie Heinrich, joins us now with the latest. Hey, Jackie.
Good morning, guys. More than 1/5 of U.S. active duty troops overseas are based in Germany, about 35,000. And now President Trump is threatening a drawdown after German Chancellor Friedrich Merz said Iran is, quote, humiliating the United States. President Trump posted this: the United States is studying and reviewing the possible reduction of troops in Germany with a determination to be made over the next short period of time. Thank you for your attention to this matter. His frustration bubbled over after Merz spoke to a group of German students.
I'm not gonna lie, it does look like our relationship with NATO just might be done, but I hope not, because if our relationship with NATO is done, then these NATO countries got like two choices. Either they move towards a more friendly superpower, like, okay, if not, definitely not gonna be Russia, so they might just move towards China for protection, or these NATO countries start individually focusing on their military capability. And I think they might just focus individually on the military capability instead of getting in bed with China or Russia. Like, Lord knows they don't want to do that.
The Americans clearly have no strategy. An entire nation is being humiliated by the Iranian state leadership, especially by these so-called revolutionary guards.
President Trump posted Tuesday, the Chancellor of Germany, Friedrich Merz, thinks it's okay for Iran.
I mean, he have a point, but I don't like him saying it. I'm like, I mean, it's like, bro, who country you talk about again? Not mine. But I mean, this is a problem. We are kind of getting embarrassed on the world stage by not being able to take out, like, what was it? Iran is the weakest it's ever been, right? It's the weakest it's ever been, but we're in a 2-month war with them. Like, does that make sense?
To have a nuclear weapon. He doesn't know what he's talking about. If Iran had a nuclear weapon, the whole world would be held hostage. I am doing something with Iran right now that other nations or presidents should have done long ago. No wonder Germany is doing so poorly, both economically and otherwise. Now the chancellor is trying to smooth things over, saying he still has a good relationship with President Trump, and he's expressed his doubts about the war since the beginning. He added that Germany...
Now, do you want to know why the German chancellor is snapping right now? Because he's going to go through an energy crisis that he was already going through. Like, bro, gas prices were not good in Germany. And now he's about to go through a fertilizer problem as well, brought on by the United States of America. So I can see why he's a bit irritated with Trump right now.
Must live up to its leading military role in Europe. President Trump says all this could go away if Iran would just cry uncle and agree to end their nuclear program. But the Supreme Leader vowed to protect Iran's nuclear program as a national asset in a written statement this morning, saying, quote, "We and our neighbors across the waters of the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman share a common destiny. Foreigners who come from thousands of kilometers away to act with greed and malice there have no place in it except at the bottom of its waters."
Okay.
Today, President Trump will be briefed on possible military plans by CENTCOM commander.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, what was it? Khomeini released a statement today. Like, of course, you got to go to Al Jazeera to hear it. And don't worry, we'll bring it. Once this video is done, we'll get to that one. But also, I want to bring in Guest Dude as well. Well, not Guest Dude, but gaming. Guest Dude, you can come up as well, too.
Reports, though, he has already expressed a preference for an extended naval blockade, saying it is more effective at degrading what's left of the Iranian regime and also reducing its revenue generators like its oil. Guys.
Hey, Jackie, are you jealous of me because I had an exclusive on Sunday night and I got an exclusive that you couldn't get because I had you and your fiance on at the same time? Is there a little bit of bitterness because I got the exclusive and you didn't?
I was so honored to do our first appearance together with you, Ryan. So it was friendly media appearance.
Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick. Unfortunately, we both went through things together, so it was great to get both of your perspectives. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Jackie.
So let's talk about Iran. I mean, right now, it looks as though the president's getting frustrated. I think they were able to absorb a lot of the economic pain. I mean, here in America, you get gas at $4 a gallon. It's panic politically. In Iran, it's so different. The people are so tortured on a regular basis. Their life is so, sadly, so miserable that when you just tell them their money's worthless, that food is gone, your jobs are gone.
No, their money is worthless, but they produce 80% of their own food, bro. So, no, their food is right there. That's the problem. That's why Iran just don't give a fuck right now, because they know that this whole fertilizer problem is going to be a problem for all the other countries, but them, a country that produces 80% of its food. So the food's good, the currency's trash, and the people are rallying around the flag against the so-called great state in America. Like crazy.
And they don't care. They have the guns. They got the twisted interpretation of Islam, and they're going to be able to withstand it. Unfortunately, I think the only logical thing is probably the option the president doesn't want to do, and I can understand it, is go back militarily. We have the targets. We've now had a few weeks to arm up the Arab states. Israel has come into the UAE and said,
here's the problem. I mean, they have underground cities, underground bunkers that they hold these drones and missiles and all that good stuff. And I mean, we can hit those on top. Like, we can do all the airstrikes we want, but we won't reach those, and they'll still continues to have this missile and drone capability. That's what I'm saying. These airstrikes are useless. And if we really want to get some progress done, we'd have to put boots on the ground. But nobody wants to do that. I mean, trust me, I don't, you don't, and the president don't. Well, I don't know. Maybe he does, but people are holding him back. You never know.
Take some of our Iron Dome. We know they're going to target there again, Kuwait, Bahrain, and Saudi Arabia, and just go take them out.
I think it's true that he doesn't want to do it, but he'll do it if it's necessary. And I think when it comes to, we got to look at this pain a little different when it comes to economic. Any type of pressure on the people, they don't care about. So when we talk about economic pain, that's not going to impact them.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the economic pain, straining their military and them being able to buy weapons and fund their terror proxies, that will hurt them.
And that's what the president did with crypto.
Bingo. So,
yeah, but you don't think that Russia and China are helping them out with the weapons? You don't think that? And according to our what was it? According to that congressional hearing with Pete Hegseth, yeah, Iran has made about $14 billion. I mean, I wonder how much Chinese missiles they can buy with that. That was literally the question he asked Hegseth. I was like, hey, I mean, he got you there, dog. He got you there. He's like, oh, they got $14 billion they can still play with. I hope you know that. And this ain't America. $14 billion don't go a long way in America, but it sure does go a long way in other countries.
I think that's what they're focused on right now. You know, there are some reports that the Gulf states may get involved on this next round. I would like to see that happen.
And there are different stories about our depletion of our missile stockpiles. They're worried about, some people are worried about, are we using too many? Do we have enough in our arsenal now of the Patriot interceptors, the Tomahawk cruise missiles, the Joint Air-to-Surface Standoff missiles?
I mean, no, here's the problem. If you actually read the report, what was it? It came from the Strategic Center for Strategic and International Studies. If you read it, they're pretty much saying, I mean, we got it, but the problem is, though, we're sacrificing pretty much a war with China for war with Iran. So if China ever want to take Taiwan, we won't be able to stop them in the future because we're engaging in this conflict/war right here. So this is what I mean. We're sacrificing a conflict with China or being able to stop China for war with Iran.
Pete Hegseth, our Secretary of War, and General Raising Cane are saying that we are well supplied. The Pentagon is saying that we are well supplied, that our reserves remain robust. And J.D. Vance, our vice president, he was on the Will Cain show and he was talking about our military readiness. Listen to this.
Of course, I'm concerned about, our readiness, because that's my job to be concerned. But I think that Pete Hegseth, our Department of War secretary, I think General Cain, our chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, they're doing an amazing job. But it's, of course, my job to ask these questions. It's, of course, my job to make sure that we're on top of every issue. And, of course, it's the president's job, too. And I think that both of us are very focused on that. But we've got a great military, a military that can do a lot, Will. So don't believe everything you read, especially in papers like The Atlantic.
This whole mission is for...
Oh, guys, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Appreciate the support, by the way. And let's go ahead and bring in my man, Gaming, man. Long time no see, bro.
Yo, what's up, my man? What is up?
Man, it's all good. So what you think about how the war is going so far?
So